Does more time mean a better logo? Well, Virgins took minutes to create, but Apples took weeks. So in this video, I'll design 3 logos with 3 different time constraints for a playful yet premium sock company to see if more time truly makes a better logo. Let's go. Okay, for this first one, we'll focus on creating just a logo type. So this is a logo that uses only the brand's name. For example, this is Nike's logo type. So I know I won't have time to design anything else, and to save time, I've already picked out some fonts. But we need something playful, so anything too neat has got to go. Now, Vemily is too over the top, and Bamu is too thick and hard to read. And I'll get rid of the remaining ones that I'm actually not keen on. Now, I like these 2 remaining ones because they have personality, but I do think that this thicker one will work best for when we start to customize it. Okay, so now we have the font, let's start by sorting out the layout. I think we should stack this because the business name is quite long. Then we'll remove the dot of the I, and we'll push the text up slightly to reduce the gap and make sure that the letters sit comfortably next to each other. Now, because the Y sits below the baseline compared to the other letters, it creates this really nice curved smiley face effect that I really like. So we're gonna make this more noticeable by bending it using envelope distort and enhance the playful look. Now I think we need to adjust the spacing between the letters since they're feeling a little bit too far apart. So whilst doing this, I noticed that the letter S needs reshaping to match the curves of the other letters, as it looks a little bit inconsistent. So let's tidy this up with the pencil tool. Okay, it is now looking all right, but it would be pretty cool to include something related to the business, aka socks. Now I'm thinking we customize the P's as they already have the right shape to resemble socks. So let's try and do that without making them look out of place or cheapening the logo. So if we first delete the center of the P, and then we'll use the pencil tool to adjust the letter to look like a sock shape whilst still looking like the letter P. So I'm thinking we could also add a white outline to the left-hand side of this letter so that it resembles the heel of a sock. Because right now it is quite hard to make out what it is. All right, time is up. While it's not perfect, the P's look like R's and the sock detail isn't very obvious. I think overall it isn't too bad for 10 minutes. But let's move straight on to the next logo design, as this has sparked an interesting idea. Since we have an extra 50 minutes this time, let's start by creating a mind map to get some extra ideas out. As you can see, I've written down words related to the business. Now from each word, we'll brainstorm design ideas associated with it. With our ideas on paper, I'm thinking because of the extra time, we can focus on creating an icon alongside the logo type for this one. And for that icon, we're going to use the P's in the previous logo as inspiration. But we can't just have a pair of socks as the icon because that would be pretty boring and obvious, and the design needs to be playful. So I'm thinking, bear with me here, let's draw an illustration of a person doing a handstand with their legs in the air showing off the socks.
Hold up, wait a minute. Something ain't right.
I know this might sound super random, but I think it could work as a unique, playful, but still relevant logo. So let's start with the legs in the air and use the rectangle tool to draw them. Then we'll add some shorts using the pencil tool. Okay, then we'll add the body. And I think we'll give this person a top that's kind of dangling down so you can see it is actually doing a handstand. And I'm going to add the head, and we'll have the hair dangling down so you can also see that this person is upside down. Okay, and then the last thing we need to do is add some socks onto these legs as the primary focus. So looking at it now, I think a full-length person is going to be too long for a logo. So I'm thinking, let's remove the top half and focus on the shorts, legs, and the socks. This change actually helps draw attention to the socks. So let's pretend that was my intention. Now I've actually just noticed something that could work really well. So if we reflect the sock to face the same way as the right sock, it looks like two P's representing the Playful Pairs name. Now it's subtle, but the best logos are. The next issue I have is that the body now looks abruptly cut off. So I think if we grab a circle and place it around the hip area, kind of makes it look like the person's stuck in a hole, which adds to that comedic and playful side of the business. I think we've gotten this to a good place, but like every good designer does, let's experiment a little further and try some different socks on the feet, as they currently feel a bit plain. So after some experimentation, I think using an outline for the socks works best. It allows us to add a nice pattern which ties in nicely with the business name Playful Pairs, as plain socks aren't that playful. And with that added, I think the icon is done. Now we need to add a logo type, but I don't think we'll have enough time to customize it like we did with the last one, so we need a top tier font. And I think I know one that will fit perfectly. Now this font was the one we narrowed down in the previous round, and I think it could work well here. It's playful but thinner than the previous font, which will work well with the illustration. So let's add this under the icon, as it will make the person look like it's diving into the type. Okay, so we have a few minutes left, and let's spend them doing something we didn't have time to do in the last round, creating logo variations. So the logo suite is done, and we are now out of time. I think this concept is much stronger than the last one. The hidden P's in the socks work really, really well, but I would have liked to test the logo type just a little bit more, as it now feels a little too condensed for the icon. And it also would have been really nice to actually add some color to this, but we'll have plenty of time in the next round. It's cool to see the difference in the logo quality between the two time constraints. It has me really excited to see what we can come up with next, especially since we have 5 times the amount of time to spend on it. However, the weird thing with us designers, apart from always feeling the need to critique the menu design at a restaurant, is that the longer we have, the more it becomes a curse, because we can overthink everything. So let's just see how this plays out. Okay, since we have more time for this logo, I've created a plan to divide our time to give us some structure to follow. So first, we're going to generate some ideas, then go on to designing the logo. We'll then pick fonts and finalize the logo suite, choose some colors, and then bring it all to life. In the last round, we didn't have any time to explore design styles, and this is going to help a lot when it comes to designing the logo. So let's start with this. So I've just created a mind map, done some research, and also put together a mini design direction to follow. Now, using this direction, let's focus on designing the icon. Now, I really like the sunshine face and the happy socks icon. They're playful, which is exactly what we need. So I'm thinking we should find some faces that we can use for the base of this design. So my initial idea was that we could add some legs to the face we're going to create, kind of like how it is in the sunshine image. But after finding this emoji, I have an even better idea. Why don't we use the mouth to resemble a sock? Now I know it's a little bit of a stretch, but if designed well, this could work.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
So let's start by drawing this out very roughly. First, we'll grab a circle for the face. We'll draw 2 more circles for the eyes. And then start drawing the mouth, which is going to double up as the sock. So I'm thinking the tongue can represent the heel of the sock. Then we can have the cuff as the right side of the teeth, and then the part where your toes go can also act as the other part of the teeth. A little bit wonky, we'll tidy this up a little so that it's more symmetrical. Okay, so this idea could work. There's a lesson here. Validate your ideas before sinking loads of hours into designing them. Now, I said this could work, but we need to tidy it up first. This looks so much better. So adding more detail to the tongue helps it look like both a mouth and the heel of a sock. I also think that it looks a lot better with the inside of the mouth being black. Next, I think we need to adjust the eyes as they're just not sitting right. So let's duplicate this, and I think we'll try turning these into an outline, and then we'll add some pupils in the middle. Don't think I like this. It's kind of just reminding me of googly eyes. Maybe if we change them to be a little bit more circular, see how that looks and if that is the issue. Still not quite there. Maybe we could try closing the eyes, because that might work better with it being the open mouth and having that expression. So let's delete these and grab the brush tool, and I'm just gonna brush some eyes on. That already looks so much better. Okay, so this left face I think works the best, but it still doesn't feel playful enough for the brand's personality. So I think what we could do is experiment with the circle shape to see if that makes any difference. So to do this, let's use the star tool, because it has this really cool feature that allows you to easily adjust the shape properties of the live shape. So we'll first create the star shape, and then we'll also create some that are a little bit more curved. This definitely adds to that playful vibe, and I think this one with the curves works the best as they fit in with the curves of the mouth, and the shape isn't too wild compared to this one. In fact, it kind of reminded me of those frilly socks that I used to wear when I was little. Okay, so before we go any further with the design, let's check how the icon looks inverted. Now this is important as a shape can look completely different when it's on a colored background. Now, if I was just to invert this as it is and pop it on a dark background, it would look a little bit weird. So to make sure this is inverted right, let's duplicate the shape, and then we'll invert the outline to white, and then also fill it with white, and then we'll place this on the black background. So this looks great, which means the icon will work across various mediums. With the icon complete, it's time to move on to the next stage, finding a font for the logo type. Now, during the initial research, I found that a thick and bold font works best for showing the brand's personality, and I think this style of font would complement our icon really nicely. So let's go and find one. Okay, so after spending some time looking for fonts, maybe just a little bit too long, here's the top contenders. Now, as you can see, this time around, I've placed the text next to the icon. I've done this so we can see if they complement each other well. So the ones that immediately stand out to me are this one, and this one. So I really like the thickness and curves of the letters and how they match the icon. So I'm thinking out of these three, the condensed version works the best, as the others just feel a little bit too stretched out. But I don't think this font is perfect, so let's spend some time making a few tweaks to it. First, let's adjust the spacing ever so slightly. It feels like some of the letters at the moment are too close together compared to others, so let's sort that out. Now, I think we could customize the inner holes of the piece to be a little bit more playful. So let's grab the curvature tool and make these curved to match the arch on the eyes on the icon. So that subtle tweak seems to have worked, so let's do the exact same to the A's and the R. Now, I love adding little details to a logo. It not only helps with the consistency between the icon and the logo type, but also feels like I'm planting little Easter eggs. Okay, the icon and logo type are done. Now it's time to create the variations. So the icon with the left aligned text can be our wide layout option, but we need something a little bit more vertical. So let's stack the text, and then we'll add the icon on top. And then lastly, we'll just have the icon on its own. Okay, let's move on to something we haven't had time for in the previous rounds and work on creating a color palette. So I'll use the inspo I gathered at the start to guide me, but right away I'm thinking orange and blue would work well as they give off a really playful vibe and also complement each other, and then maybe a touch of pink. So now we've got a rough color palette, let's experiment so we can tweak the tones and shades until we land on something. Okay, colors have been picked. I wanted something light and airy, and these colors work really well. Now, I'd usually spend way longer at this stage. Sometimes it takes a day to finalize the color palette, as I like to thoroughly test the colors out, but we don't have the time, so this will have to do. Now, with the last bit of time left, I think it would be good to put this design onto some mockups to see how it looks in action. So let's have a quick look on Envato, which is where I usually get all my mockups from. There's a link in the description if you want to check them out. Okay, so I think this one would work well. So we'll download this, open it up in Photoshop and put our design on it. And with 15 minutes to spare, we are done. I chose a couple of mockups that show the logo being used in relevant cases. So for example, sock labels, and then I also made a mockup of what their homepage of their website might look like. So in this video, you've seen me design a logo in 10 minutes, 1 hour, and 5 hours. But does more time really create a better logo? To answer that question, watch this video here, where I designed a logo that took 50 hours, this time for an actual client.